Like I always say, you don't need a mixer or an oven to start a cupcake business. You can start with the tools that you have at home. In this tutorial, I'll teach you how to make soft, sweet and moist red velvet cake for business. I'll also teach you how to calculate your cost as well as your profit. So if this sounds like what you're interested in, please stay tuned. So in this recipe, we are going to be using buttermilk, and this is how you can make your own buttermilk at home. You get a cup of milk and add 1 tablespoon of white vinegar, but if you don't have white vinegar you can use lemon juice. So what this buttermilk does is, it's the acid in the buttermilk react to the baking soda to make your cake light and fluffy. That is, your cake will remain soft and light. It also helps to break down the gluten in the flour so that your cake can stay moist for a long time. So just set it aside for 5 to 10 minutes so that it can curdle slightly. So while we are waiting for it, let's measure our dry ingredients, and I'm going to be using 2 cups of flour. You can see how I measured the flour. I leveled it. I did not heap the cup. That is, the cup is not too full. If you did not see that clearly, please go back and look at it again, because when you don't measure well, if you are not using a scale, if you don't measure properly, then you might get it wrong. Then here I have baking soda and baking powder. Here I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of baking powder and half teaspoon of baking soda, and we are using the baking soda in less quantity because it's more active than the baking powder. So too much of baking soda in your cake can make your cake to taste bitter. And very importantly, make sure you sift your flour before using. Always sift your flour before using. So going in next is 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder and a pinch of salt. I know you are wondering why salt in cake. Salt is very necessary in cake. You can skip it for other types of cake, but for red velvet cake it's very necessary because it helps to balance the heavy sugary taste, and also it helps to amplify the cocoa powder, that is, boost the flavor of the cocoa powder and the vanilla flavor so that your cake can come out rich and not so sweet. So I'm done with the dry ingredient. The next thing is to prep the wet ingredients, which comprises of egg, buttermilk and vegetable oil. But I'm also going to add the sugar to the wet ingredients. So you can see I broke my egg in a different bowl before transferring. This is very important so that you can dictate bad egg that will not ruin your work. So, and also make sure that the eggs you are using are at room temperature, that is, they are not cold. So I'm just trying to remove some of the dirt that are in the egg before I proceed to beating. So if you have a hand mixer, you can use this for this, but if you don't, your spoon or your fork can do the work for you. So make sure you beat your eggs properly. When your eggs are beaten properly, it increases the volume of your batter. So the next thing I added is 1 cup of sugar, and I'm just going to mix that together properly before I add in my vegetable oil. So I just added 1 cup of vegetable oil. Then we mix till it is well incorporated, till it is combined. So after properly incorporating that, you will just make a well at the center of the dry ingredients and pour in your wet ingredients. Next is to gently fold in using your wicks or even your spatula. You can use either the silicone or your wooden spatula, whichever one you are using. Just make sure you are gently doing it. If you're still watching, please don't forget to like this video and help support my channel by subscribing. Thank you. So our buttermilk is ready. I just added half teaspoon of red velvet color. I'll just mix it to the buttermilk, then transfer into the batter. Then continue to gently fold in. So So I'll just go ahead and pour the remaining buttercream and continue folding in till everything is well combined. So I'm done incorporating that. The next wet ingredient that is going to go in is hot water. Yes, hot water. And I just added half teaspoon of vanilla flavor. So adding this hot water helps to thin the batter, dissolve any sugar lump that might be in the batter, and also creating a softer and moister crumb. And the quantity I added is a quarter cup of hot water. You can do half cup if you wish. So you can see how thin the batter is. When you even add half cup of hot water, it will make it thinner than it is, but this consistency is also fine. So I just go ahead to pour the batter into the pans, and I've gone ahead to grease the pan generously with butter and also sprinkled with flour. This is done because we are not going to be using a cupcake liner, and if you are not using a cupcake liner, for your cake to be able to come out smooth, you have to grease your pan. So after 35 minutes of baking, our cake was ready. You can see how beautiful it came out. So I'll just leave the cake in the pan for a few minutes before letting it out of the pan. You can see how easy is coming out of the pan. That's because we greased the pan properly before putting in the batter. So you make sure you leave this to cool completely before you package. So for the cost, I got 2 cups of flour for 400, 1 cup of sugar for 300, vegetable oil 1 cup is 500, cocoa powder 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder is 300. Then the baking powder and baking soda is 100 naira, flavor is 100 naira, and also our buttermilk is 250. I got 250 for the buttermilk because I bought a sachet of milk for 200 naira and 1 tablespoon of vinegar. We just assume is 50 naira, which I believe is less than that. Then that's how I got 250. I used 1 tablespoon of vinegar and 1 cup of milk. Then the price for the leather is 120 naira, and it is so because 1 pack of that leather is 800 naira and it contains 100 pieces in it, and out of the 100 pieces we used only 15. So when you divide 800 naira by 100, you are going to get 8, which means one of that leather is 8 naira. So 8 naira times 15 pieces that we use, that is how we got 120 naira. I hope that is clear. Then for the gas and transport, I'm not going to include the cost here because I already included it when I was calculating for the vanilla cake, and that's in another separate video. I actually made the vanilla and red velvet cake same day, and I wanted to make just a single video, but I discovered that the video was going to be very long. That was why I just separated them. So when you watch the other tutorial on this my channel carrying similar thumbnail as this, you will understand better. So you can go ahead and include your own transport fare and see how much you are going to get. So if I exclude the transport fare and the gas from this calculation, what I'm going to be getting is 2070 naira, which I approximated to 2010 naira. That's for this red velvet production. So you can see, and I got 15 pieces of cupcakes. You can see there is a lot of profit here, right? Even if you decide to sell for 200 naira, you still make profit on this red velvet cake. I'm not saying you should go and sell it for 200 naira. That's entirely up to you, because definitely the prices of these items will vary in your different locations. So whatever you're doing, just make sure that after calculating your cost, your selling price should be more than your cost. Please feel free to ask me any question on this tutorial if you don't understand, and I'll be ready to clarify you. Thank you for watching. Please do well to hit the like button, share to your loved ones who might need this tutorial, and also support my channel by subscribing. Thank you, and see you in the next tutorial. Bye.